Today I will be reading a book, not doing a game review or code review. There are a lot of books in the Martine series, and we'll be reading this one right here that's highlighted in yellow. It's called Martine and Wilbur the Donkey. Martine books are originally written in French and converted into English, and the title is Martine and Wilbur the Donkey. Old Mr. Ted lived next door to Martine. He spent most of his time in his orchard with his donkey, Wilbur. Hello, Mr. Ted. Hello, children. Would you like some apples? Dad was always warning Martine about her neighbor. Mr. Ted is as stubborn as his donkey. He shouldn't climb trees like he does. One of these days he might have an accident.
Music licensing.
That couldn't have been more right. One day Mr. Ted fell from his tree and broke his leg. He wore a cast and he couldn't walk for some time. It must be very boring to spend all day not moving. Oh yes, the days are very long, Mr. Ted said. But you will get better, won't you? I certainly hope so. But I have no idea who will look after Wilbur in the meantime. Do not worry about Wilbur, Mr. Ted. We'll look after him.
Music licensing reimagined.
In the meadow, the donkey seemed a bit lost. I'm hungry. I'm cold. Where's Mr. Ted? He's had an accident. He won't be able to look after you for a few weeks. Wilbur suddenly looked worried. Martine and John had to reassure him at once. He will get better. Don't you worry. We'll take you to the farm in the meantime. You'll feel at home there. Okay then. Oh no, hold on. I don't want to go anymore. I'm staying here.
Music licensing.
At last, Wilbur made up his mind and let Martine take him to the farm nearby. She explained the whole situation to the farmer. We really don't need a donkey on this farm, the farm cat said. Quite right, the farmer added. I suppose a sheep or a canary bird would have been fine, but I can't see what I would do with a donkey. Martine knew it would take a bit of convincing. Oh, please, we will look after him. You won't even need to worry about him at all. I suppose that could work. Why don't you take him to the stables and give him some food? But Martine, just remember, I'm doing this as a favor. At the stables, John went to fetch some straw and made Wilbur's bed up. Martine brought over some cabbage, carrots, and a bucket of water. But I'm not hungry. Please make an effort, Wilbur. But I'm not thirsty either. All I really want is to sleep. Martine's patience was already running out. Hee-haw, Hee-haw, went Wilbur. Please be quiet, Bobby said. If you continue this fuss, the farmer will want to get rid of you. Nancy the goat appeared in the doorway and spotted Wilbur. She could tell something wasn't quite right.
Music licensing.
Hello there, Wilbur. Is something troubling you? She said, her tufty beard and shiny bell dangling from her jaw. Goats know just how to talk to donkeys. They can understand each other well. Wilbur was so happy when he heard Nancy's voice that he immediately felt a bit better. I want to go home, he said. Why's that? Aren't you comfortable here? I want to see Mr. Ted. But you can't go home, said Martine. How many times have we told you? And you have to stop making so much noise. Martine decided to take Wilbur to the shed, where he wouldn't trouble anyone. At least here you won't be such a nuisance. A wasp suddenly found its way into the shed and headed straight for Wilbur. Wilbur got angry and agitated. Get away from me, he shouted, flapping his tail, about to swipe the wasp away. As he missed it, he stomped his feet about and crashed. He knocked over the farmer's brand new bicycle. The farmer had heard it all and ran to the shed, alarmed. I knew it, Martine. I told you this donkey would be trouble. He didn't do it on purpose. I know donkeys, believe me. They're all the same, stubborn creatures always up to silly things. But it was the wasp's fault, protested Martine. The farmer wouldn't listen. I'll put him out with the sheep in the pasture. That should calm him down. Bobby was playing with the sheep in the pasture when Wilbur appeared in the corner. What a sad face. Are you being punished? Punished? Why would anyone punish me? Don't be ridiculous. Donkeys are well known for being very sensitive. Furious, Wilbur decided to run after Bobby to teach him a lesson. Bobby barked. He felt a bit scared. The sheep got agitated too and started to scatter in all directions. It was a real mess. Martine was so upset. If the farmer hears about it, you'll be punished forever, and so will you, Bobby. Quickly, she decided to tie Wilbur to the cherry tree. Later on, a sheep approached Wilbur and said, You gave us a big scare, you know. Won't you answer? Please leave him alone, the goat said. Can't you tell he's sulking? The next morning, a beautiful sun was shining, spreading its rays across the meadow. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and the sheep had been out for a while already. "What's wrong, Wilbur?" Martine asked. "Aren't you getting up this morning?" "I feel ill. I have toothache." "Oh, get up, please, get up." Wilbur pretended not to hear Mr. Ted. Mr. Ted wouldn't have been impressed with such behavior. That day, the postman delivered a letter for Martine. It was from Mr. Ted, who wrote, "Dearest Martine, I am still recovering from my injury at my nephew's, but the doctor tells me I am doing better and that my bones are getting stronger. I hope that you are keeping well and that Wilbur isn't being too much trouble. I look forward to hearing all about it when I come back, Mr. Ted." Of course, Mr. Ted was worried about his donkey. That was no surprise. It was obvious that he wouldn't be impressed to hear all about Wilbur's latest incidents. When Wilbur thought about it all, it made him feel bad. "Hee-haw, hee-haw." "What now, Wilbur?" Martine asked. "I am very sorry. I have been so naughty, but I can't help it. Please don't tell Mr. Ted anything." Martine hugged Wilbur to make him feel better. "Of course I won't. You know I still like you a lot, don't you?" Suddenly it seemed that Wilbur was finally at peace. Martine continued to whisper in its ear. "There, it's over. Let's not talk about it anymore. I will never get cross again, I promise. And you won't be stubborn ever again either? I promise. You won't sulk either? I assure you." "Hooray!" Martine cried. "Then I promise not to get mad ever again either. How lovely to..."
Music licensing reimagined.
"How lovely to have a better behaved Wilbur with us. But look at you. Let's get you nice and clean before we do anything else. What if I taught you how to bow to people? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How about we teach you how to dance too? Look, it's quite easy. Raise your left leg like this. Raise your left leg like this, and then the right one. There you go. Oh, look at this, Bobby cried. Here comes a clever donkey. Clever donkey, the cat replied, as if such a thing was possible. Bobby was truly happy. How delightful it was to have a friend around who wasn't sulking at last. But how clever Wilbur became wasn't important. It was how much nicer he suddenly was that mattered. He became such a kind, patient, good, willing donkey All his hee-haws were now to show his joy. Martine and Wilbur became the best of friends. The farmer was quite astonished at first, but he soon came to understand how much they loved each other. One day he had an idea. "What are you doing?" Martine asked. "My bicycle won't work anymore, so with the wheels I might as well build a new cart." "What will you use the cart for?" "Well, to have a walk with Wilbur, of course." Wilbur looked smart with a flower collar and a little bell round his neck. He looked very proud too, pulling Martine's cart along the road. Martine's friends decided to follow them along the road with their bicycles. What a ride they had! "Hello, hello," swallows called from up in the sky. Where you are going dressed like that? Where are you going dressed like that, Wilbur?" A sheep asked. "We're off to see Mr. Ted." Mr. Ted was on the mend, finally walking along with a crutch. He couldn't wait to see Wilbur again. "My dear Wilbur, have you been good?" "Oh yes, I don't cry or sulk, and I'm not stubborn anymore." "It's true," Martine added, "and we don't get cross with one another at all." She was so proud of Wilbur, and so was Mr. Ted. They all hugged each other and were so happy to be together again. Martine knew that all donkeys were exactly the same, but she also knew that although they had a good heart, they could still be very stubborn. By nature, they are the most stubborn animals. Although, like all donkeys, Wilbur could still sometimes misbehave. That day he was the happiest donkey ever. The end. And that was the story of Martine and Wilbur the donkey. Whoops. And I read the whole thing. Bye. I will see you in a different review.